Hello, everyone. Great to have you here. We are going to wait a few minutes and get centered and come into the room. And I'm glad Stan had music playing because I needed that. Uh, it's going to be an interesting day. It'll be fun. And I got to tell you, this was just brought to me as I am thinking about this. When I planned this, there were so many things I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know why I was creating the title of this, and it's starting to be revealed to me, and so we will all understand that as well. Okay. Let's do this. We'll wait a couple of minutes. I know a few more people will come in, and the others will get the replay, so it'll be fine. But I need to come into the room, and so do you. This is going to be I will see. There's a lot of information that's been coming through, and as you probably can know and see that in our world, so we'll see what happens. But I need to get connected again so we can all do this. If you can just take some deep breaths here, and so we can all come into a different place, be present. Start this. Big breath. Hold it for a bit. Let's let it go. Another breath. Hold it. As you let it go slowly, you become more relaxed and present. Another breath. You're going to receive great information, so relax even more. We are ready to begin. And again, we're going to say thank you so much for being here, and we have waited for you all your lives. Today, that makes even more sense. It will. You'll see. It'll make even more sense to you because we planned this without Roger's full awareness of why he was doing this, because we love the surprise of it, because you each have this fear and doubt going on in your lives now. So anything that we can give you that causes you to feel a little more secure and to understand why you are here, because you're here for a very good reason. That's why we said that we want to explain to you why you're here, because you're the ones who came to do some really great work now. And this is the time that you meant to do it. And it's actually in this calendar time when you meant to do it as well, which is why we kept using dates. And we're doing it again today. And we love this because it gets you to feel the connectedness to us. That's really what we want, because you are here to do some really great things, because you're bringing in a new world and you intended to do that. And your lives have given you the abilities and the skills to perform your tasks now if you start to recognize that, if you start to own them. And that's why we had to take Roger through everything that we did just to get you here today. We told him to plan this date, to plan a talk, because we needed to speak to you, because we knew, first of all, that many of you have, in the last several days, have experienced some deep emotional shifts happening in your lives and not understanding why. And we're glad that you did that. You see, because that was part of why you wanted to be here. You wanted to let go of more of your grief. You wanted to let go of your shame and your embarrassment and your lack of confidence and all of that. That's what you did. That's why you're here. And so recently there's been more movement, and we did this today because there's still going to be more, and many of you will feel it to a greater extent tomorrow. But the next several weeks are really essential for you. And we've been saying this for a while. This is the time that you meant to plan what you're going to bring in this next year. Now, the dates don't really matter, but humans use these until they have power. You use your new year as the time where you set forth something that's going to be really important in your life, that you're going to do, that you're going to finish. Most times you don't do that, but you do it anyway. It's a ceremony. However, this time you have more power. This year is different. And you've known that. You've all known that. You've been wondering what's been happening in your world. You're wondering, why is it look this way? And some of you think that it's falling apart. And it is not. It is just here for you. That's all. You created this. You are on this journey in your life, your evolutionary journey, where you meant to be here right now in this space in your world, where you could actualize yourself, where you could move into a new area, a new dimension, because you're all moving into a new dimension. That's difficult for many to understand because you're used to your 3D world, things you can touch, tangible, you can feel it all. That's why you're here. But you meant to use that. You use everything physical to understand who you are on the spiritual level, because that's the only thing that's real. The only thing that exists is your spirit, your soul, and you are each here on your soul's journey. When we've said to you over and over again that you are unique and the same, what we meant was that you're unique in the individual journeys that you each have selected. We're saying that, please understand that nothing is going on in your world right now, in your life, that you did not want. Now, it may be challenging because you're resisting it, or you don't understand it, or you hate it, or you think something's going wrong. So that makes it really difficult. But we gave you that in 2012 as well. We gave you everything in 2012. And we said that, and Roger did not believe it. And we've been going over this because we wanted all of you to believe it, you see, because you haven't believed things within yourselves. That's why we said today, we gave you the message, we're going to explain the inexplicable, because you keep trying to put things into logical human terms, and you can't do that because you don't know. We've said all along that the world that you desire to see is not guaranteed. That is because you're creating it, and you're doing it right now, and you've been doing it for a really long time. And we said each of you here are connected to us for various reasons, but the main one is why you are here today. You see, Roger didn't know that today was Human Rights Day. So we had him go and look. Now we're going to tie all of this together. We did this so quickly that his mind was just spinning with how much we had given him. And we said to all of you that you would start to experience synchronicities coming in such rapidity that you're not going to miss this. You're going to understand. And the whole entire point again is that you were here for a really great reason, each of you. There's not a significant person that exists, except that you may have accepted that throughout your life for different reasons. That's what Roger did. He did that most of his life. We can explain it now because he can see it, and that's why he can talk about it, you see, because he has the clarity of the vision of what his life was. This particular lifetime, he decided to move through all of this junk that he had carried around for eons, as we've said before, which he can't remember. We've given him certain parts of that, but he can't remember all of that. And every time he didn't move, he didn't keep going. This time we said, you're not going to do that because this is different. That's why you wanted to be here. Each of you have done that. That's in your timeline as well, that you've given up somewhere, and this time you intended to keep going. We've given you that message. You intended to keep going because you wanted to evolve. That's why you picked this really dynamic time in your world to be here. That's what you each have done. So then when we told him to plan it on this day, because you will understand why you're connected to us, because each of you exists. You have this benevolent part of you. You have something in your families as well, where you wanted more acceptance, you wanted more inclusion, you wanted all of those things, you see, but you didn't have any memory of that. You're just working on it now. That's why you meet with difficulties and challenges in your life, because you wanted them so you could move over them. We've given Roger several titles to use that we thought many of you would start to understand what we were up to. His book that we gave him was called Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. Because you're all looking for freedom right now. You've heard that, everybody's fighting about freedom. That's what you're looking for. But we said before, you haven't known where to find it, because it's in your thinking. It's what you're doing to yourselves. It's how you're thinking about who you are, your importance, your significance. And we're saying, again, we're going to keep doing it. Each of you are so significant. Now, 2012, we're going to go back there because there's several things that have happened as a result of that. When we had Roger plan today, we also said, look at the day that you're doing this. It was on the 7th of December. And then we said, now go back and look at your calendar. We're saying this, we want each of you to pay attention, because we're laying out things that we want you to understand, because you have a timeline, you have a divine plan of your life that is unfolding, and many of you are seeing certain aspects of it now. You're starting to understand it, because it would be impossible for you not to have noticed some of these things coming through. But we said to Roger, now go and look at your calendar. And then he did, and he went back. We said, go back several years. And when he did, he saw that on that December 7th in 2019 is when he had a session with Stan. And we said, yes, you were supposed to do it then. Now we want you to make the connection. Pearl Harbor happened on this day. Now, none of you remember that. You weren't here. But there was an aspect of that occurrence in your world that is relevant to each of you, because you didn't want to see world domination by any one nation. That's what you put in. That's why you're having your feelings that you're having right now, and especially during this time in your world, especially in the United States, because you've had this. We're speaking here because it's going on everywhere, but we can just talk about it a little more directly here because this is where Roger is. So it makes more sense. But we said also that the United States would lead the way, and nobody understood what that was, and now you're starting to see it. See, because on this day as well, the human rights, we're working for democracy. And the president of the United States decided, okay, we need to lead the way again. And they called a summit to be able to do this. Roger didn't know that when we told him to say those words. We're speaking this because he always doubts what we give him, you see, just as you have doubted who you are. You've each heard or felt, we'll put it that way, because it's this feeling that you have at times. Oh, I think I'm supposed to do this. Oh, I think I'm meant to do this. This is my destiny. And then you spend the time talking yourselves out of it. And that's why you're sitting in the same place. But it's also a greater reason that difficulty that you have, that has arisen because you have done that, you see. That's why you see the division in the world, because you haven't been willing to own who you are. You haven't been willing to believe what you've been told or what you felt. That was Roger. So that's why we kept using 2012. And then what's happened, we made it even better. So we've had him working on this program that we've given you called 4 Weeks to Your Best Life. And he said, that's not possible. Well, yes, it is. And you will see everyone who will come in there, they will resonate with this. We created this for them. And those of you who are in the program now are experiencing that. You're seeing it. And you're wondering, how did he know this? How did he put this stuff down there for us to move through? But we're saying that because what happened was, as Roger's putting it together, he's just like, why didn't I know this? Why couldn't I see this? Why didn't I use it? And he said it many times, and those of you who know, he said it. If he had used all of our information, his life would be in a completely different place than where it is right now. And that's for each of you. You each have these things, these gifts within you that have caused you to become wealthy. There's no reason for you to struggle at anything. They've caused you to become wealthy, and all you have to do is actualize them. And being called to actualize them now because of the conditions that exist in your world that you are bemoaning, that you are complaining about. You think these are horrible. No, you wanted them because now you have something to work with. You each do. And it's going to be what you feel you came to the world to bring, what you came to offer. Now, we will say this. You each have your, the conflicts that are going on in your world, you each have your parts in that because you have biases, you have what we call preferences, but sometimes you haven't allowed yourselves to own them. And so you keep them withheld, and that's called bondage, you see. You keep crying about freedom, except you're holding yourself in bondage. And this is the place where you are now. And we can say this because we know that it's with each of you. You would not be listening to us. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't hear this later if it were not true. So, and again, but it's not to judge yourself. We've said this over and over again. You must understand your evolutionary journey. And it's challenging for humans because of your reliance on linear time, meaning that things have to go in these sequential ways. So we've used that actually, you see. We took Roger back. We told you we took him back to the Mayan calendar, see? And this is all connected to where we are right now. Because at that time, where we said we gave you the information in 2012, that's when the calendar and during that year ended. And it ended because you were supposed to carry that forth, see? You were supposed to begin building this new world that's going to start to manifest because it coincides with the galactic shift of your world. That's what's occurring right now. And you're moving into a much a different part. And so the part that you're moving into now, however, is much more conducive for each of you because you've had these personalities that you wanted to love, you wanted to accept, you wanted to give, you wanted to do all of those, but it was challenging. It was incredibly challenging because it wasn't the complete time for you to do that. But you set it up that way so you could move through the challenging times to come to now. When we had Roger say a couple of weeks ago, some of you didn't believe, he said, gee, I don't have any fear. We're explaining his timeline because each of you have that. He knew when he came into this life, he had all of these different things that he needed to move through to become free. You each do that, and it's related to your life, your ancestry, which is a great a portion, a big deal of what each of you are doing this time in this life. Moving through those restrictions of your ancestors that have you were never able to move beyond before, and you're doing it now. You accepted this. And so what you're doing, and it happens at different times in your life, has nothing to do with your age, as we've said. It's when your personal evolutionary journey is ready. So Roger knew that he had all of these different issues. We love using that because that's what humans do all the time. These issues that you have, these difficulties, they are never that, but you can feel them as being something holding you back. We told him all we're doing is we're working on empowerment. He didn't understand that. He's understanding it now as he's looking at the program that we gave you. We told him, we want these people to do this program because it's going to cause them to become empowered. When they do that, then they will they will end up doing the roles that they said they were coming to the world to do. And then your world changes because you each had that idea about how you were going to change the world. You were the ones who were going to come and change the world. And you are those people. The difference was you came in at this time, still dealing with your human time, but you came in at this time because your evolutionary journey, the personality of you was much more conducive to bringing in the new world that we all want to see. And that's why we're so thrilled that you're doing it. And all you have to do is get out of the way and own who you are. And we've said that over and over again. See, the funny thing is, when Roger went back through 2012, he was just shocked at how many times we had said that. And then he was also shocked at how often he did not believe that and move with it. And we said, no, that's what you set up. You wanted that. So he could appreciate how much he had held himself back in this life and in other lives. It's actually been going on much longer than that. And so then it made more sense why he would be doing this now. So as he had this idea, we started sending him the idea several years ago about this, about what we're doing now. We started sending it several years ago. We're saying this because some of you are beating yourselves up because you haven't moved on some of the things that you've been given to do, and you know that. But that's okay. It just wasn't the exact right time, the perfect time for your evolution. It is now. If you listen to it, if you believe us, you will start to really move on that, which is our hope, actually. As we said, that's always our intent here. So when we gave him, we started showing these other things. So we said about today, the day they planned it was the 7th. That was Pearl Harbor. So you see, there was another war happening in your world, which could, you always have the capability of doing that, unless you learn what you meant to do now. Unless you accomplish the goal that each of you came into the world to do now. That's exactly where you are in your world. That's the place where you sit right now. And you've set that up. So then we said, okay, now look at what was there. We said today is Human Rights Day. Roger didn't even know what that was, so we had him go look. We do this all the time. It's so much fun because then you guys get to appreciate it. And so then he looked, and then we said, oh, we just kept leading them to other places. Then he started to look to see, what was going on in 2012? And we said, please show that, because everyone connected to us will be connected to that, because that's the initiative that you set forth during that time. You set it forth in your life. You connect it to that energy, to that part of your evolutionary journey. And you know that you have done that because you also can tell that not everyone here now is doing exactly the same thing. And that's what you're meant to become cognizant of. You have to understand everybody's on a different journey, but you have to own yours. And as more people own themselves, you don't have your conflicts anymore. Your world changes. We even showed Roger some other things. You do contradictory things, each of you. And this is what we want you to understand. This is the dilemma that your world is working through. As we told you, it's always about this shift of power, inequality, wealth, and all of that stuff. You're doing that. But we also said this is the dilemma that you have, each of you, every lifetime you live. You're conflicted, you're contradictory, and you're right. Think about that. Each of you, every single human. And you have to figure out how you can resolve those issues within yourself. We love using that word. How you can resolve those issues within yourself and cause them to come together, which means that you start owning who you are. You do not have the same journey as anyone else, but you have to own yours. We're going to explain this in a different way. When we are coming through Roger, he's very aware of the things that he still must move through in his life, his restrictions, his all that. We don't see that. We don't have that. When we work with you, we can't see that. When he says something to you, he's speaking from us to you. He can't. That's why he can't see judgment in you. That's why he can't do it. He sees nothing wrong. And he had to work through that. So the one thing that he did when we started giving him this information where we wanted to go, we said, we need you to do this. Now, again, get the timing here. So in 2017, we sent him someone. We're tying this into why we're doing it on this day, and it's all connected to Stan. We love that. See, because he's a Sagittarius. We talked about this before. We also showed you this really weird moon that Roger had in Sagittarius. So you won't connect all of these things yet because you separate things, but you've been given everything human, you've been given to use to cause your expansion if you don't discount certain things, but they're all there for you. And so we said, look at the dates. So in 2017, we brought in another person who happened to be a Sagittarius. And this person represented every particular issue that Roger had in his life, every single one. And he's looking at this and he goes, why would I want to be around this person? You know, some of you run from those toxic people. That's what you've done. So then you'll be okay. If you can get rid of all those toxic people, then you'll be fine. No, you won't. Because they're going to come back and you're going to deal with it again. This is why you keep repeating the same relationships. This is why you keep having the same experiences, because you're not changing anything. But this time you decided to change it. So we told Roger, okay, so you have these things that you know you haven't moved through. We'll send you a person to do that. And it's going to cover all the bases, because this person is going to be disruptive. They're going to disagree with you on practically everything. They're not going to hold the same beliefs that you do. Some of them, there'll be enough to keep you there. You see, there'll be enough connection to keep you involved, but not to have you stay together. We hope you heard that, because some of you don't understand some of the relationships that you've had in your lives and why they leave. They came in because you called them in to help you move through something sometimes. They may not always be the lovely relationships of who you're supposed to stay with for the rest of your life. It depends on your individual journey. But many of you are seeing now that some of those relationships are breaking down and leaving because they've served their purpose. You're meant to move into this new aspect of who you are, this new world. And so that has to be let go. So we brought this person in to Roger's life, and he knew it. They both knew what they were doing. They were both consciously aware of what they were doing, that they had to work through their stuff. He said to Roger, I've got to toughen you up. Many of you can relate to that. Yeah, I got to toughen you up because you're too sensitive. You hurt too much. There were several different things. And then the whole paradigm shifted. Then Roger became the counselor for this person, you see, because then they went through their healing. They did all of that. But he wasn't paying attention to all of that. So then we said, no, fast forward, because see, we gave you this person who caused all this disruption, caused your family to just think you were out of your mind. Many of you have had that, and think you've kind of lost everything, right? Because we needed you to experience that so you could own who you are. You know what choices you're making. This is each of you. We're speaking to you. You know the choices that you're meant to make for yourselves, but sometimes you allow other people, mainly your family and friends, to talk you out of them. But again, we want you to understand, you set that up. You placed yourself in those families, in those places, wherever they were, so that you could move through those restrictions within your evolutionary journey. It has nothing to do with them. It's you. And so then as this was all moving up, we said, let's make this all really great so Roger can see the entire thing. We didn't show it until later, because he had forgotten, you see, that today was Stan's birthday, that we were planning this on this day. But we did it purposely because we want you each to understand that you have these connections that come into your lives that you're meant to take advantage of, and they are to serve you because you're leaving something, you're leaving a legacy. And we told Roger very clearly, this is the person you'll leave everything with. We want to say this. You will notice certain things that you've done that you've never done before. And when Roger first met Stan, he's never done anything like this. He contacted him on Facebook because he saw we did it. We told him to do this. He didn't know why he never knows, but he listens now, and he's much more willing now, which is what we hope will be happening from many more of you. But as we did that and he started working with him, he said, oh, I know who you are. And he told him. He told Stan exactly who he was, and then Roger forgot it. He completely forgot it. That happens a lot. We want to explain that. Many times, when what's coming through here, Roger doesn't have a conscious memory of it, but he will have to listen to it later, and he gets most of it. He's sort of here, but he doesn't get all of it. Otherwise, he interferes. He censors. And so we try to keep him out of the mix as much as possible. And we know this may not make sense to many of you, but some of you have been starting to experience many of these things within yourselves because you're moving into a different dimension of your life as well. You all are. All of humankind now is doing that. That's why the world looks this way. But you are the ones who said, if I come to the world at this time, and if I am willing to own myself, if I'm willing to move through all of my past judgments and doubts and fears, if I'm willing to do that, I'm going to live this magnificent life. And that's where you are right now. You are there right now. We're saying that because some of you think, well, I haven't done that yet. You weren't supposed to. You're supposed to do it now. And some of you are thinking, well, it's too soon. No, it's not. It's right where it's supposed to be for you. Your chronological age has absolutely nothing to do with your evolutionary journey. Then we made it even more interesting for Raja, you see, because we want you to understand you're moving through different carried grievances that you've had in your life, or fears, or problems, different things that you're carrying through your ancestors. Now, we've been talking about this quite a bit, this that your ancestors are watching with curiosity. We've said all of those things. That's what's going on right now. So after they've been in this relationship, Roger was working with Stan, and then Roger happened to reveal a photo of himself many years ago when he had a mustache. Stan looked at this and kind of freaked out. He goes, oh that's my father. That looks just like my father. It was a very shocking, uncomfortable experience for him and for both of them, actually, because how could this have happened? Oh, it gets better. Because they even had a tragedy in there that was common. They had that was common. And so they could see the thread that was moving through something on an evolutionary journey that was healing. You each are doing that right now. You may not be able to tell because of where you are sitting in yours, but you are doing that. The reason we had to take Roger through working with our program, 4 Weeks to Your Best Life, is because he had to move through this next level of his journey where he's not going to give up being the leader he said he was going to be. Each of you, that's where you are. And we're saying that. And the program that we gave him, you, is about becoming empowered. We're not teaching you how to do anything else because you each have that. You have certain things that you're meant to do. There are different skills, different careers, modalities, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. We really don't care. We just want you to do it. Because when you do it, the world gets better. You heal. You get rid of all this stuff that's going on. It changes. That's what happens. And so, but the problem has been you have not been feeling self-empowered. And our mission, as we told Roger, was to cause you to become self-empowered. When we're giving you the information, he's seeing this very clearly now, and he didn't see this at all. All the messages that we gave you in 2012, we said, your life operating instructions, he never saw this. They were all written in a completely different way than any of the other messages we had given him. We did that because we wanted it to stand out now. See, these are the things that are inexplicable to many of you because you try to put things together in human terms with human reasoning, and that's not going to work because that's not what you're doing. Where you are now, and we'll give you the particular place where you're standing. You have to find a way to inch toward yourselves, meaning owning who you are, what you believe, what you think you are meant to bring into the world, and start moving in that direction. But we also told you that you don't know. You don't really know. It will unfold. The problem is, when this was kind of funny, we said to Roger today, we reminded him of this because we would say things like, we will tell you more later. We'll give you this in bits and pieces. And his friend would always complain, why don't they give it to you all now? And we say very clearly, it's because it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't accept it. It's too much. So we give it to you in little pieces. And each of you who have been here repeatedly, through the conversations that we've been having, you've seen that happen. You've seen yourself accepting a little bit more, moving out of your disbelief and accessing different sides of you. Oh, and some of you have been so much happier. And that we're really pleased about. Many of you have sent your assignments, and you've done your assignments in the program that you've been doing, and you've sent them in. Roger, we told Roger not to look at them yet. We didn't want him to see anything yet before today. He will. We didn't want it today because because some of you will now understand things that you might have thought you were understanding because Roger read your stuff. He didn't. He will now. But we wanted to get this through because now it's going to hit you in a different way. You're going to hear this in an entirely new way. You are here now to cause a big shift in your life. You are. It's different than anyone else. It's you. And the problem you've had, the difficulty you've had is believing that, is just trusting it and just knowing that your mission, what you feel, who you are, is essential, is important, is critical. And it is. Unless you were the one soul in the world who decided to be born without a purpose and didn't have meaning and purpose. You would be the one soul. Some of you have done that to yourself, so especially when you've not understood some of the things you've taken on. We need to talk about that. As we're saying this, some of you are hearing this and saying, well, wait a minute. No. You're going to love this. You're saying, it's been too difficult. It's been too challenging. I've had all this stuff, all these problems, all these failures, all these things that have happened. And we're saying, thank you. And you don't understand that. You becoming willing to move through your junk has taken it out of the collective consciousness. And many other people won't have to go through that. You should be patting yourselves on the back. You should be proud of yourselves, but most times you haven't appreciated that. In our program, we have you go through a process where we want you to remember what you've accomplished. Because see, you're sitting in a place now where most of you have forgotten the things that you've done in your lives because they became natural. They were easy for you to do, or you're over them, or some of you don't want to look. And this is a big one for many of you here. You believe that some of the stuff that you moved through or the problems or the things were these horrible things that you could never tell anyone, that you could never own. And that is where you're wrong. That is where you're wrong. Because, see, this is what happens. Once you recognize the mistake, as you might call it, because it was never that, it was your wanting to evolve. So you were doing things and didn't turn out to what you wanted, but that was great because now you learned something, so you have wisdom. But you're still classifying it as being a failure. And so you can't grasp the wisdom from it. And you can't feel better about yourselves. You can't become empowered because you can't see what you've done. You're only focused on what's not complete, what you haven't finished, how horrible you are, what a weakling you are, you don't have any courage. None of that's true. None of that is true. You're just doing it at the time that was right for you. And once you start to accept that, you'll let go of the self-judgment. We've been saying this in all of our talks. The whole goal is to let go of your self-judgment. You've never done anything wrong. You're just figuring that out now. And this is a time that you were meant to actualize because you will create the new world that we all want to see. If you just get out of the way. And the only thing you have to do is to own who you are in every aspect. We have so many of those things in there. We've given you so much. That's why we were so excited about this program, actually. Not so much for you. Roger even said this in one of his videos. It slipped out. He says, I don't care if you take it. He said that. Some of you probably heard it. That was him coming through because what he recognized was that he stopped doubting himself. It doesn't matter. I mean, of course, more of his mission, more of his purpose, and he knows this, is to help more people. So he has to do that. But the greater reward for him was to understand that everything we had been saying all these years, 40 years, was correct. When we said that you were conflicted, contradictory, and right, those are all true. And you have to understand that about yourselves, and you have to understand that about everyone else. Otherwise, this world will not change. We've said that before too. Because you see, when you start looking at the others and thinking that they are delusional, because that's a big thing going on now. They're really delusional, and that's the problem in the world. You're delusional. We've given you that. We said that because you've been cutting off who you are. You think somebody else has all the power. No, you do. Because you hold power in a different manner. You hold it in the lovingness that you want to bring into the world, and the thoughts that you have, and the caring, and the inclusiveness, and everything that you were signed on to in 2012, as we said. That's what's going on. And we gave you that other message. We just pulled out the other one that we had on the screen because that's what we want you to understand, do now. You have to start to create the world that you want to see. But it becomes distracting when you are focused on the drama in the world, which is why, again, we purposely had Roger start this in December because we knew what it was going to look like, because it's going to still look, your world is still going to look like this. You have some things to move through still. And so your understanding of this will make it so much easier, and you're working on yourself, gets you out of all the mess. That's why we did this. You are sitting at the place in your life that you've always wanted to be right now. There are no accidents. You're sitting there right now. And so it's giving you, and you may not feel that you're ready to move. As we've said, we've done this purposely. There were many times in Roger's life where he was not ready to move, and he knew it. And he resisted so much. He knows that was really one of the main problems with all of his physical conditions was his resistance, not wanting to move, not wanting to believe, and his fear of judgment. We got rid of that too. It was so fun. Imagine that. So you can say anything you want to him now. Okay, doesn't matter. And this is where we want you each to move to, because that's who you are. You're these wonderful, magnificent beings who came to bring in a world that was going to be one that nurtures all. That's what's really happening. And the contradiction, you all are doing this, okay? And we'll give you this, because this is the part that you're going to have to figure out. We had Roger see something that was going on in your rainforest in Brazil, and that's been a whole other it exemplifies the contradiction that you're all moving through. You have a leader there who's in control, who's ignoring, mainly has been ignoring what all want, what the people would be best for everyone, in a selfish manner. And that's how your world, humans, have operated over eons, and it shifts, and you're going through a shift again. So this is why that particular area is one of interest, because what's happening is you're taking away your forest, and so you're getting rid of some of your natural resources because you don't want to spend the money to do anything differently. You see, that we told you in the very beginning of our talks, we said where you are now in your world, you're going to understand this. You're struggling between money, power, and control, and love. That's what's happening. But you are here to be loved, you see? So you're going to look at all these other things going on. You're going to figure out who you are. You're going to figure out a way to own yourself and become empowered. That's why we're giving you the program. That's why we're doing all of this. So you become empowered. Then when you become empowered, you can see everybody else in a different light. You're not going to hate them. You're not going to put out more anger into the world or into your life. You're not going to do that anymore. And that's the part that we're really excited about, because we know we can bring that about. Just like you had that idea, we're saying this because we want you to hear those words. You had that idea that you were going to make a difference, and then you started talking yourselves out of it because you thought, oh, maybe I'm insignificant. Again, no, you meant to do it now. That's where we are. And we did this today. We wanted you to understand, because there are a couple of things that you're going to see tomorrow in your world that are going to look even more disruptive than they do today. And if you remember what you're up to, and if you remember what's going on, you'll understand that, oh, this is just another part of human evolution. We're going to, we have to leave with one thing, and then we're going to open it up, because we don't know what the questions are, but we want to just talk a bit more. However, we've often said That if more of you would study your history, you would feel a little bit better about what's going on because you would understand what's happening. The biggest thing that you've done now in this particular time is that you've made what you've done it many, many other times, but you're doing it to an extreme this time. We said that you've carried out your pandemic longer than you had before, because you've done this before, you see. And if you were to go back and look, you would see that this has been going on for centuries. You come into the world as humans and you interact with one another. That interaction causes things to change. Your bodies change. And you create viruses. That's what happens. And then you interact with animals. It's all connected. It's all energy. It's all substance. And because you're moving into different areas of who you are, your expression, your bodies don't have that kind of natural protection or immunity. So you start developing more by your interaction with others. And sometimes you can't do that. And so then you created science. You did that. Humans did that. You created science to help you do that. Now, if you want to understand this, please study. Please go back and look and see how many times in your world you have done this. But the thing that you had not recognized is that certain people use this as a way to control power. That's all. If you can control power, then you become important. You're the Almighty. We said that you're all equal. So that's the dilemma that you're going to work out. That is what that's what you're coming together to heal now. You're coming to heal the contradictions within yourself and within your world. Now, the contradictions within yourself are these. You have certain ideas and beliefs, but you're afraid to put them out there because you think of what someone's going to think of you, or how you're going to be judged, or what ridicule you're going to have, or whatever it might be. That means that you have not gotten to the place where you've achieved the goal that you want to do in this lifetime. Because in this lifetime, you decided you were going to come in and you're going to figure out a way to own who you are, because that would cause evolvement. You were going to figure out who you are. You're going to own that. You're going to tell others because you knew that what you were going to give them was going to be helpful. And you knew that what you were going to give them in the manner you were going to give it to them was going to cause love to blossom, was going to cause unity, was going to cause inclusion. You see, that's why we said that. And you each know that. And you felt it. That's what you're up to now. And it's challenging. We said this because if you hadn't moved through anything, if it hadn't been difficult, you would not have known you've accomplished anything. And that's what you wanted to do in this lifetime, each of you. We have many messages in there speaking about that. We're going to speak about our messages. First of all, we're going to talk about this. As we mentioned in our last talk, the messages that we had on the website are no longer there. Now, this seemed like it was an accident, and it was not. At the same time, we want you to understand that. We've told Roger that we want you to start to revamp. We want something that looks new. We want you to do it in a little bit different way. So that's what we're working on now. We still have the old messages. We're just not going to publish them. And we didn't want to continue to publish the ones from 2012, because that's going to be our little Bible, you see. That's what it's going to be. As we said, what we have given you is a philosophy, your life operating instructions. And the purpose of our philosophy was this, was to cause each of you to move into aspects, to continually move into aspects of ownership of who you are, because that is empowerment. That's all that it is. And as you do that, you change, your life changes, every aspect of your life changes, and the world changes as a result. That's our only intent, is working with that. We explained the other day, that's why we never tell you what to do. We give you suggestions, we give you information, and we give you the ability to make choices, because that's what you always wanted. But you wanted to know that you wanted to have a little more security in the choices that you were making. And so that's our purpose. That's what we give you. But it's been thrilling to do it. We have to say this again, because some of you are still feeling that, no, wait a minute, mine has been too challenging, too difficult. No, it hasn't. And we're going to keep coming back because there's much that you do not know about Roger's experience and how he can sit here now and say these things and feel completely okay with them and feel warm because of them, you see. Each of you were born to live magnificent lives. And the only thing that happens as you're living those lives is that you talk yourself out of it. That's all. And because you've done that, you have the ability to talk yourself back into it. And that's where we come in. Now, what we would like to do is open up for questions. We have no idea what you have, but we want to receive them because we felt there's so much angst in the world that we had to like offer something a little bit different. And Stan will bring you all into the room and you can unmute and ask whatever might be there for you.
Yes, perfect. So I am going to start letting everyone into the room. You will receive a request to join as a panelist, and you will be in the room. You can turn your camera on, you can unmute and ask your question. If you do not wish to ask your question on camera, you can send me a chat, and I will ask it on your behalf. I am sending out the invitations now.
And we would love to know from any of you if you heard what we meant to say today, why you were here. Are you understanding that? Are you accepting that? Are you coming closer? Because that's all that it ever is.
Okay, the invitations are sent. Does anybody have any questions? Raise your hand. You can. Yeah, Brian, go ahead. Oh, you're still muted.
All right, now
there you go. We can hear you.
I don't really have a question, but I do have a sort of realization with a lot of things Roger has been saying. Tomorrow's my birthday. Last week, I had a total hip replacement. Now, prior to that, I had an opportunity, I was presented with this opportunity to sing at an entirely different place that I normally do things. And I had said to him, I would do it, but I am having surgery. And it was that part of your mind where you focus on not blocking something before it's happened. So I said, if I'm able to walk, then I'm able to do it. And so I did it. And the thing about when you're talking about fear, there were these voices going on, you know. One was saying, oh, you're crazy to do this because you just had surgery 3 days ago under anesthesia. Then the other voice was saying, that's the fear talking. So just go, what's the worst that's going to happen? Because you can sing, you know, we've already confirmed that you can sing, you can do it. And sometimes you have to just not listen to that other voice, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and you're going to learn from that. So whether it's, even if it turns out not to be what you had anticipated, there's still growth there, right? Because it's a whole different experience from what who sung 3 days after anesthesia? I said, oh, this might be interesting. So I'm learning to not let the fear interfere with what I'm doing. And I kept on saying what Roger's been saying, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be here right now, doing this right now. And that really got me through the whole night. I didn't have to think about what I was singing. I didn't have to think about how to do it technically. I was just there to make people happy. And it worked out the way I wanted. So I'm just trying to actually just share that some of this stuff, information rather, has helped me be a little bit more open to new experiences, no matter what they are. I think that's about it.
You just allowed us to send all sorts of energy through Roger's body, because the rest of what you did was, we're so grateful. You are the epitome. You're the example of what we've been attempting to do through Roger. You are exactly it, and we'll explain it for the rest of you who may not understand. When you first met Roger, you didn't know why you were doing this. You just had a sense and feeling, and then all of a sudden it turned into something different. And you started figuring out, wait a minute, he's taking me into a different direction. and I'm understanding something, and then it's happening at this time in your evolutionary journey. It's not an accident that your birthday is tomorrow, which is why we said to some of you, you would be experiencing more coming up then. But for you, it meant that this was the time that you were getting ready. You see, that's why you had the hip replacement, because you wanted to be stable. You wanted to be on your own 2 feet. We told Roger that's what would happen for him when he started to move in the right direction. Physical things would clear up. And that's exactly what's occurred. And it will happen for all of you. We are so pleased with you. You have made such a tremendous difference, not only in your life, but in the lives of so many other people.
Thank you. Thank you. That's important.
Thank you, Brian. Before we move on to any other questions, I just feel compelled to ask Wilhelm to talk a little bit more about that, about moving along your path in life, and how that clears up a lot of the disease and dysfunction in our bodies that sometimes can't really be diagnosed.
We've given you so much information over the years, and we made it really vivid for you in some of our messages. We would take the word disease and split it, D-I-S, dis-ease. You get it? Dis-ease. You're not at ease. You're not accepting who you are. We gave Roger a complete life experience this time where he didn't do that, and he suffered the consequences of it, which are not consequences now, because now he understands the value that he gained, because he doesn't have to do that anymore as you are doing that. That's what happens. You will, as you move along your journeys, you will find these places. They will resonate. There's a feeling that you will have that you know if something is right or not, and you feel that. Sometimes you interpret them wrong, but that's based on how you've been programmed. Don't worry, we go through that in the program. You've programmed yourselves into being where you are now. So we're just giving you information, tools that you can start to reprogram yourself. So, but anyway, you're moving through, you're connected to so much that came before. You can see, this is why we talked about the DNA. You're connected to your parents, their parents, their ancestors. They had stuff they couldn't work through, so they gave it to you, or sometimes you accepted it. It's what happened. You chose it. You accepted it because now you can do that for them. Because if you move through your limitations, your restrictions here, it affects them. We've said that. We've given you that. That's how you heal your past. We gave you in another program we had Roger do, which was not, similar to the current one, but not the same. But anyway, we would have you reinterpret things, so that you can have a different perspective, a different mental attitude, because that's all that's going on ever. Your state of mind is all what's creating your life. But when you understand that these things, you're always moving on your evolutionary journey, you're always there, but you just, the problem with your human thinking is this, and we've given you many messages like this as well. You classify things. You classify yourself, and you classify everything as being good, bad, right, or wrong. You do not know what any of that is. You just don't. You have limited awareness from this, where you are right now. Your awareness is limited, because tomorrow there could be so much more. We gave you, we'll tell you this because it's fresh in Roger's memory right now, because we had him work on it yesterday. One of the things that we were giving you in the program was to not set expectations. That seems crazy. Wait a minute. No, I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to have a specific goal. We said, no, your goals are limited. You've been limiting yourself your entire lives. All of you. You had to. Because if you hadn't done that, there would be no place to go, you see. There would be no place to go. And this is, again, why none of you, you cannot judge yourself. You're in the perfect place right now. And all we want you to do is just keep stepping forward. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, Brian, you said it looked like you wanted to say something else?
I did have a question. I did have a question in terms of, so are you saying that sometimes when you set these goals that it actually could be limiting to some?
Yes. Yes, always. We've given you something different though. You're going to set them. You have to set them. You have to set them because otherwise you have no place to go. But your human awareness is always limited because you don't think you can do stuff. You don't think you have abilities. You don't think you have talents. It's grown. You can see that. You've done that in your lives. You've played that out already. So that's what we said. Let go of those. So just say, okay, I have this general idea. Okay, let's talk about your money. Let's say, okay, I am so grateful that I have earned $50,000 more this year, or something like that. Whatever thing you make up. But when you do that, that's a limit, you see, because you could make $1 million. You could make so much more if you had not set the limitation of $50,000. So we say this or something better, because the universe always has something more. There's always more. You're evolving. You're becoming more. And so we know we've had Roger do this, and people say, why do you put things out there that way? Because you've seen, let's go back, we're giving him too much now. We talked about your New Year's resolutions again. Okay, let's go back. We said we wanted to do this in December. So this time, by the time you get to that place where you symbolically create your resolutions, we want you to create the ones that you're more likely to stay with and that you will keep. And if you do the work that we're doing, talking about becoming empowered, you're more likely to accomplish that, you see. So, but you're always moving through something in your life that is relevant to what is happening in your world at the time. We know for some of you that might be complicated, but we're gonna keep doing talks, and we're gonna keep explaining all of that, because see what's happening in the world right now, you wanted to be here because it serves a part of it serves some aspect. It's different for everyone, but for you, it serves some aspect of your evolutionary journey. Something you wanted to move through is existing in the world right now. Right now. And it's different for each of you, but the thing that is the same, as we've kept saying, you want inclusion. You want the things that we showed you from the 2012 human rights. You're just starting on it now. You're just beginning it now. When we gave Roger your life operating instructions, he kept complaining, why didn't I see this? Why didn't I know? Because we said you had to learn it first. You had to move through that. You had to receive the information, work through it in your life, find the validity of that. So now you can give it back to people with this full-throated approval of it, because you know it works. And it will not only accomplish what he wanted in his life, but also help so many more of you. And that was the whole plan. We told you before, he left this years ago. The only memory we gave him was from 2005, because that was visceral. He had written it down so he could see that one. But we said, you've done this in other lifetimes. You've done this over and over again, where you abdicated your throne. Each of you have done that in a certain way. But now it's different. In this lifetime, he's in a completely different place. Now he'll do others, well, he'll move through other stuff. But here, all he cares about now is having others have the information and the feeling that he has. That's all, because you can't explain it. When you finally stop judging yourself, when you finally understand that everything you did was for a reason and had purpose, and that you can understand that you can make your essence, just your essence, makes a difference in the world, there's nothing more thrilling than that. We do get carried away.
All right. Gustav, you have your hand up.
Hey, Roger, just want to say thanks for all the information you brought through just before I ask my question. Yeah, my question, let's say it's a two-part question that maybe can be broken down into a few questions for simplicity's sake, but let's see where it goes. So my first question is, maybe why does negativity exist? Like, why does fear and anger and things exist? And just to talk about why those feelings come through in relationships and how one lets go of negativity and like anger, fear, etc.
Because you want to love yourself. That's why they exist. And we're speaking to you specifically because we've done this. We've spoken to you so much, and we've done it through Roger, and it surprised you at times because he said things to you that you thought, why is he saying that? Why does he know that? We've told you why you're here. We've told you that you've even placed yourself in different parts of the world to serve a purpose. And so you couldn't serve your purpose unless you were seeing things that felt like bad or evil or all of that stuff, because your essence is something different. You purposely, you wanted people to feel something, and it's been challenging for you because you also came from a place where you didn't experience it much, and then you went to another place where you had to like kind of put all that together, and you're figuring out, why am I doing this? You're doing it because you have this path that is meant to help so many, and you couldn't do that unless you saw what was wrong. Now, there are many of you who are not trying to look at any of that. You're not trying to see what's wrong. You're trying to pretend that it's just not there because you've done that in your life. So, stick your head in the sand and maybe it'll go away. But no, you decided that you wanted to make a difference in whatever way. You're still figuring out. This is why you also were shuffling to figure out where would be the best place that I could make that difference. But the essence of what you want to do has always been you. And so that's why you're feeling it. And that's why you're feeling it more now, because more people are expressing this anger and rage and fear and all of that. And so you're here to help all of that. And as you help them understand, no, it's going to be okay, you're fulfilling the purpose that you set for yourself by being born.
Okay, so thanks a lot for that. Thank you. And then my or the end of the question would be, how do we as people better allow ourselves to express love, and why are we able to keep that back, if that makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, and that's exactly why you're here now. You each have done that. But this lifetime that each of you are having is perfect for this time in your world, you see, because in other places you've held that back. You've held it back because it felt not real or something different for you. But now you're meant to bring that forth. But the problem is you're carrying around old stuff. The old stuff that you don't have any memory of, maybe some from this lifetime, maybe some others, but the old stuff are your judgments, your self-judgments. As we've done these talks, we've said each one of them, we had one purpose, and that was to help to move you beyond your fear and doubt so that you come to love. Now we're going to, and you will understand this, we've said this to everyone, we're going to actually clarify it a little bit more. As you move through your life, you experience fear and you experience doubt. Everyone, you always do. And then you decide how you're going to work with those two things, which are sometimes really combined. And then as you decide to move over one aspect of it, you start to say, I'm capable. I've moved over that fear. Oh, wow, I like myself a little bit more. Then you start to move over the next thing. Oh, I doubted I could do that, but I'm going to do it now. Now I'm saying, oh, wow, I can do this. Now it feels better. You start to love yourself a little bit more because you allowed yourself to get out of the way and do the thing that you thought you doubted, you see. As you continue on that path, you're evolving. You're becoming empowered. As you do that, you emanate an example that shoots out to the world, and they say, oh, that can be done. That's what you're all doing. That's what happens as you move through. That's why we said you use these things. And that's why we used Roger. You're here listening to him because he's a perfect example because he had so much of it. He doubted everything and he feared everything, as we've told you. And then to be at a place where he says, no, I don't have that anymore. That's what you're each doing. You're moving to this place because if you actualize that within yourselves, you're going to make such a difference because it's impossible for others not to see this, not to know this, witness it in you. And then that inspires them to do the same. And that's how your world changes. And we're saying this because we need each of you to really remember this, especially over the next several weeks, because it's going to look different. But if you remember why you're here is to be loved. We're saying that we had Roger, he couldn't find it. He'll find them later, but we have given him so many messages that he put away And each of you have done this because he didn't understand it until now. He said, you came to be love. But why? That's it. Your job is to be love. He said, please do your job. We've given you several messages. Please do your job. He said, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't seem like enough. It's more than enough, because that's the only thing that survives. That's the only thing that will be left. As you move through this particular restructuring that your world is going through now, that's all that's going to be left is the love and the spirit. That's it. And so the more of you who access that now, you will not have to repeat some of those horrible things you went through this life and other lives. You're going to be in a different place, and you will fulfill your purpose, because you're each are here. That's why we told you why we were going to tell you why you were here. You're here now because you meant to bring forth this world. You meant to be loved. You meant to stop judging yourself. And you meant to actualize who you are so that the world can start to change. And you're going to look at everything that's going on. And because we've told you this, you're going to see beyond it. You're going to see the future. And that's why we want you to start creating and envisioning it now. Put it in your consciousness. This is really important during these. We can't emphasize this enough. These next several weeks, putting that into your consciousness and doing all you can to own it. We say that because you doubt yourself so much. So it's a process. You have to keep reinforcing. And that's why we wanted to do this immersive 30 days, 31 days with you to start that process moving forward.
All right.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys really a lot.
Thank you, Gustav.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear.
Oh, he was just thanking us for everything. So thanking you for the answering the question.
No, thank you. Thank you. You have no, we want you to appreciate, we know who you are. We know what a difference that you're making. We know it's been challenging in so many different respects, but we want you to hold on to the fact that you're doing such a great job, and we're grateful. Okay.
All right. Sally, you have your hand up.
Hi. I wanted to comment that my experience of having physical challenges and having to master these has really given me something that I can then give to other people with authenticity, because I've gone through that and I've mastered that, and I can then give it to others. So maybe the physical things were given to us to grow and to share.
Thank you so much. Again, you've sent chills through Roger. We've had to do that, see, because what happens is when this occurs, it's validation for him. You must understand, because what you just said is one of the messages that we included in 2012. It's one of the things that we told you each would accomplish. And we told you that your physical ailments were only for that purpose. Because your physical stuff doesn't stay here. That entire year, we told you your physical body means nothing except how you use it to develop yourself as a soul, and how you use it to contribute, make a contribution to the world and to the evolvement of your world. And that's what you're doing now. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, I just have one more comment. I'd just like to say that although everything seems so incredibly chaotic at the moment, I also now have this very centering sense of calm,
Right.
and even happiness, because it seems that things are happening as they're meant to happen.
Yes.
So that's centering.
Yes. We gave you. We've given. We kind of fear some of this would happen. We've given Roger so much information, and he's still sorting it out. We actually led him to another earlier part of the existence of him and by extension, all of you. And so he's going to do more study on that to bring it to you, because you're connected. You each are connected to so much more than what you know. And we gave you a message in that time as well about chaos. And we said that when you desire peace, you'll let go of chaos. That's within each of you, you see. And that's what the world is moving through now, because we're going to figure out a way to own who we are and make that a collective evolvement, you see, because that's the way your world has operated and will operate. But again, unless this shift, unless each of you, we're putting responsibility on you because we want to, unless you do what you are meant to do, we don't know what your world would look like. See, that's what you each have. You have that in your hands. You're that powerful. We're going to have Roger do a message that said it only takes one. And we know none of you, that's a difficult stretch, but it's true. One person could decide could change the world if they owned every aspect of the power that they have, because you each have that much. But that may not be your path in this lifetime. It may not be your evolutionary journey. So, but just knowing that you have that. When we began in 2012, we gave you infinite intelligence to get you each to understand that you have access to it. It's just opening your consciousness and allowing that to happen, which becomes difficult when you have to explain things in human terms, which is challenging. And we had to break everything down for Roger, finally, to get to hear what you each are doing. And you're in the right place right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I think one person can change the world because we touch other people and
Yes.
create our ripple effect.
Yes.
So one person absolutely can change by how we deal with others.
Yes. We thank you so much for that, because there's so many, we had to send Roger so many different things to calm him down, let's say. We'll throw this out here. We've sent him so much information. He knows how vital this time is, and he knows how we wanted more of you to understand, to come here. He's been, trying to send out messages and post things to get everyone here. And he's thinking, oh, I need more people, because if we have more people, things will change a lot quicker. And we said, no, calm down. The people who will be here are enough. Because if you decided that you're going to do it, just the people that are involved, you could change the world. You each have, and see, you have that much power individually, but see, it becomes exponential when you come together. And that's what's happening now.
Thank you so much, Sally. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes, Lester.
Are you familiar with the practice or the technique of tapping?
Yes.
EFT, emotional freedom technique. And what is your opinion of on tapping? I find it very intriguing.
Yes. Okay. Roger's experienced many of these things. And we told him that you don't need them. We want him to do something different, but we needed him to be familiar with them. We needed him to understand them. And so, and we've spoken of some of this, because in our program, we talk about your neural pathways, your brain science, and so EFT is a manner of connecting, because you're all connected. Your electrical circuits within your body are all connected, but they get jammed up. And so you can use meridians, different points in your bodies, to tap to release that energy. Roger does more of his through his thoughts. He's done that in a different way, but he understands, and yes, it can work. If that is if you're receiving benefit from that, please do it. Because what it's doing is it's reprogramming something that has been implanted in your chemistry. And so the tapping breaks it up. We call it a pattern interruption. That's what we've used, and we've used it with many of you in different ways, but that's what it is. And so, yes, it's very valuable, especially if you're finding yourself, if it resonates, you see, because each of you will do different things. You have many different human modalities or techniques that you can use that will get you all to the same place, which is expansion and evolvement.
How about the drug of what you call ayahuasca?
Yes, same thing. Absolutely the same thing. Because the ayahuasca, what it does is it allows you to let go of your resistance, let go of your restrictions, because it gets you out of your human thinking, your human brain, because your human brain is just this function, and it doesn't really, it's not your soul brain. It's not what you're really working with all the time. You're working with your spirit. So, but when to get you out of 3D consciousness, as we've said, that's where most of you have, but there are many of you here now who have moved, and you know this, you've moved into other areas. You've recently, especially, you found yourself shifting into other dimensions and understanding things and all that. So some of you have done it in your dreams, lucid dreaming. Some of you do that, but you are moving into a different dimension collectively, the entire world. Some of you are just doing it at different times, you see. So doing the ayahuasca allows you to break this human bond to 3D consciousness, and then you experience limitlessness. You experience no time. This is why at one point early on in Roger's life, he was able to do that and move and shift into other realities in other countries at that time, and said, okay, that was great. But we said, you don't need that anymore. You know it exists. Now, please develop this. We want to develop this human ability that you each have to access your consciousness.
So
Not to judge
marijuana-
anyone else. That if you're using it, if you use those, that means it's right for your journey at this point. So we're not telling you what to do. It means that it's right for your journey, and it'll open you up. It works brilliantly. It's been an ancient thing that people have used. Yes.
Is that similar to marijuana?
Is
in
it
that
what?
sense that marijuana is it similar to
Oh,
the
it's-
use of marijuana?
it's
'Cause
similar.
Marijuana releases
Yes.
you from
Yes.
the
Yes.
voice in your head.
Yes. And it's
for a
similar.
while.
Yes, and it's similar in terms of how you're choosing to use it. Now, let's explain. You have to be aware of what you're doing. Some of you, we've said this because Roger did this, because some of you use it to block out what you're hearing. Some of it use it to go numb, so you don't hear anything. And that's why when you come out of those states, you don't remember anything that you might have experienced. It's just gone. So it just depends. However, if you've been torturing yourself so much and you're doing that constantly, then the break from that, the marijuana can help you accomplish that. So it is all helpful. So you just have to look at how you are using it in your particular life and your journey, wherever you might be. So we gave Roger certain examples of this throughout his life, where certain times he would use things to break free, but then we said, you no longer need that. Now, the next part of your journey will be to do it without the other things. Now, again, everybody's journey is different. Wherever you are is right for you. And these things there's a connection between all kinds of chemicals and things, especially that come from the earth, that you're all connected to it, all substances, so they can help you. It only depends, if anything, the intent that you have in terms of using them. Is it to cause expansion, or is it to cause you to hide out? Those are the only questions you're asking.
Your anticipation.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you for saying the anticipation. We want you to think about that. Thank you. That was perfect timing. The last thing what we want you to leave with is this. How you view yourselves in these next several weeks is important. It's vital for your life and that of your world. If you think that everything's falling apart and it's going to be a disaster, you will help to create that. If you can anticipate something good coming about, if you can anticipate yourself evolving and doing something wonderful, that will come about. Whatever you can anticipate now, the power behind it will cause it to manifest. So just be aware of what you're putting into your consciousness during this time. We are so grateful for all of you. We really want you to walk away with this. We are so grateful for what you've done. And we know that you do not understand completely what you've done, because you accepted to be here now, to move through something in your life, some restriction in your life, some limitations, some judgment, whatever it is, that is going to help you to evolve, and that's going to cause the world to come about that you wanted to see. And that idea that you had about saving the world, it's real. And the way you're going to do it is by owning you. We love you so much, and we are complete. Hi. uh, oh, this is a bunch of people. This is good. This was fun. This would be fun to listen to. I don't know. I'm going to figure out I was led back to some other really ancient stuff too, which was really fascinating and interesting. And I was kind of getting into it yesterday, and they said, no, don't do that yet. Just be here. We'll do that. We'll get into that later. So what I'm saying is that there's more coming up, and I know there's another transit. There's something happening coming up in December that's going to be another important day, and I'm going to figure out what that is. And so we'll do more. But these will all be on the page though as well, the new Wilhelm page. So great. Thank you all so much. This is cool. I must say, and I'll listen to see what came through, but I was worried because there was so much, and I didn't know how I didn't know how it was going to kind of come together, and if it was going to make any sense or go, so I'll see what happened, but I know that there's much more that we're going to be doing. So.
Roger, after this long, you should know not to be worried and just to trust, because every single time there's value coming out. I'm
so glad you said that, because this is what I used to do, even when I was just doing the writing. Before I ever did this, I would do the automatic writing since 1988, and I would sit there some mornings, I'm thinking, okay, nothing's going to happen. I will just sit there, nothing's going to come through. It always did. It always did. I just had to be patient sometimes, and sometimes if I was anxious, then maybe it did. I don't know. It was just it's completely different now. I never have to take that long. But the difference that the problem I have now is not allowing it to come through, but can I organize it, because it's so much? Can I have it make sense? And so that's the thing I'm coming to now. So,
but you don't have to worry. Right. Every single time.
Roger,
it is as it's meant to be.
Today's session was for you, Roger. You listen to it. You're going to be mind blown.
Oh, okay, good. All right, I will. Perfect. Good. All right, thank you all so much. All right, I'll see you soon. And we'll send the replay as well. So great. Okay.